The return of the lost Commander Vela stood motionless on the elevated command dais of the Covenant warship Eternal Vigil, her three eyes locked on the swirling holographic projection that filled the center of the bridge. The display showed the vast emptiness of the quarantine zone's outer perimeter, a sector of space that had been devoid of traffic for over 3,000 galactic cycles. Nothing moved here. Nothing was supposed to move here. The quarantine had been established in the aftermath of the Great Devouring, when the Awakened Ones, the most advanced civilization the galaxy had ever known, had sacrificed everything to contain the entities known only as the Devourers. Entire star clusters had been erased, populations vanished without trace, and the survivors from 100 worlds had unanimously agreed this region would be sealed forever. Automated buoys broadcast perpetual warnings in thousands of languages, both living and extinct. Defense platforms, ancient but meticulously maintained by the Covenant, stood ready to vaporize any intruder. Vela's patrol was one of many that ringed the zone. Routine. Boring, even. 6 cycles of staring at empty space had dulled her senses to the point where she almost welcomed the occasional sensor glitch. "Contact," announced Lieutenant Core, the sensor officer. His voice cut through the low hum of ventilation, and console beeps like a blade. His scales, normally a steady azure, flickered toward pale yellow, confusion, perhaps unease. Vela's central eye narrowed, the other two swiveling independently to focus on him. Details. Mass signature dropping out of hyperspace at grid 749 Alpha. Directly on the boundary threshold. "Impossible," muttered Tactical Officer Draven from his station. The interdiction fields should have prevented any emergence that close. Vela strode forward, her clawed feet clicking against the deck plating. The hologram updated in real time, resolving the incoming object into something unmistakably artificial, a vessel. But not like any she had seen. "Classification," she demanded. "Unknown, Commander," Core replied, his fingers dancing over controls. "Hull composition is primitive, primarily iron-nickel alloys, carbon composites, and trace silicates. No gravitic shielding, no plasma conduits visible. Energy signature is high, fusion reactors, possibly antimatter assist, but the design is inefficient. Blocky, angular. No aesthetic curvature, no adaptive hull plating." The bridge fell silent as the crew absorbed this. Primitive technology, emerging from the quarantine zone. The zone that should have been a lifeless void. Vela felt a chill ripple across her scales. "Magnify!" The hologram zoomed, rendering the ship in crisp detail. It was enormous by pre-Covenant standards, nearly 3 kilometers stem to stern, with a modular design that spoke of multiple generations of construction and repair. Forward sections were sleeker, perhaps added later, while the aft was a patchwork of reinforcements and welded plates. Protrusions suggested weapon mounts, but nothing that matched known plasma or particle lances. It looked cobbled together, yet there was an undeniable purpose to it, a stubborn resilience in every rivet and seam. "Send the standard quarantine warning," Vela ordered. "All frequencies, all protocols." Communications Officer Solara nodded, her antennae twitching. The message blasted out. A stern declaration in over 400 languages, ancient and modern, warning of forbidden space, imminent destruction, and the unbreakable Galactic Accord 793. The unknown vessel continued its approach unabated. "No response," Solara reported moments later. "They're either deaf to our bands or deliberately ignoring us." "Ready weapons," Vela said, her voice steady despite the growing tension in her chest. Plasma lances to full charge. Missile bays loaded with disruptor warheads. Point defense grid online. The bridge crew moved with drilled precision. The Eternal Vigil was a Sanghaili-class heavy cruiser, its armament capable of cracking moons. Whatever this intruder was, it would not survive crossing the line. Minutes ticked by. The primitive ship decelerated but maintained course, now seconds from the invisible boundary that separated safe space from the forbidden. Then, abruptly, it stopped. Engines flared, holding position exactly at the threshold. Vela exhaled slowly. "Hold fire!" For a long, pregnant moment, nothing happened. The two ships, one sleek and deadly, the other crude and defiant, stared at each other across the void. Then Solara's console chimed. Incoming transmission. Audio only, narrowband frequency. Primitive modulation. Play it, Vela commanded. A voice filled the bridge speakers. It was flat, limited in harmonic range, clearly produced by a single resonant chamber rather than the multipharyngeal structures common to most sentient species. Yet it carried authority, curiosity, and something else, weariness. This is Captain Elias Brooks of the Earth vessel Prometheus. We come in peace and request permission to enter your space. We've been traveling for a very long time, searching for signs of intelligent life beyond our own. Your ship is the first we've encountered. Please respond. The name hit Vela like a physical blow. Earth. Human. Whispers rippled across the bridge. Draven's scales blanched completely. Humans, he breathed. From the old archives, the species the awakened ones feared above all others. Vela raised a hand for silence, though her own mind reeled. The legends were ancient, told in hushed tones to younglings as cautionary tales. Humans, a pre-spaceflight species discovered on the fringes of the Devourer incursion. Fierce, adaptable, multiplying rapidly. When the containment began, they had been deemed too dangerous to evacuate, too likely to fight the Devourers and lose catastrophically, potentially breaching the seal. So they had been left behind, sealed in with the horror. And now one of their ships was here. Maintain weapons lock, she ordered, though her voice lacked its earlier edge. Transmit response. Solara opened the channel. Vela leaned forward. This is Commander Vela of the Covenant warship Eternal Vigil. You are in violation of Galactic Accord 793. This sector is a designated quarantine zone, forbidden to all traffic. Identify yourselves fully and reverse course immediately, or you will be destroyed. The reply came swiftly. Commander Vela, Captain Brooks again. Quarantine zone. We weren't aware of any such restriction. The Prometheus launched from Earth orbit 60 years ago, generational mission, multi-crew rotations. We've been following anomalous energy signatures and astronomical data pointing to advanced civilizations. Your ship matches those projections perfectly. If we've trespassed, it was unintentional. We're explorers, not conquerors. 60 years. Vela's mind raced through calculations. Primitive FTL, likely occupier-style warp or similar, meant their origin point was deep within the zone. Hundreds of light-years inside the sealed perimeter. They're from the core, Core confirmed quietly, anticipating her question. Launch vector traces back to a G-type star system listed in the ancient charts as Sol, Earth. How? Draven demanded. Nothing should have survived the devouring. The awakened ones purged the entire region. Perhaps the containment succeeded beyond expectation, Solara suggested. The devourers sealed away, unable to escape, or feed further. Vela ignored the speculation. She keyed the channel again. Captain Brooks, stand by. She turned to her science officer, Elder Archivist Thren. Pull the sealed archives, everything on the devourers and the final containment. Thren's tentacles writhed as he accessed restricted databases. Holoscreens bloomed with redacted files, texts from the awakened ones themselves, translated millennia ago. The devourers, Thren read aloud, voice grave, were non-corporeal entities existing in higher dimensional space. They manifested by consuming sentient biomass, converting it to energy for reproduction. Entire worlds emptied in days. The awakened ones developed a phased array of singularity bombs that collapsed the affected region into a self-containing hyperspatial pocket, trapping the devourers inside with their remaining victims. Including the humans, Vela finished. Yes. Projections estimated total extinction within decades. Yet here was a human ship. The channel chimed again. Brooks' voice returned, tentative. Commander, our sensors show your weapons are still targeted. We're powering down all offensive systems, such as they are. We mean no threat. We've been alone out here. Our entire history, humanity believed we were the only intelligent life in the universe. Finding you, it's everything we hoped for. There was raw emotion in those words, loneliness spanning generations. Vela felt an unexpected pang. The Covenant species had been uplifted young. Most joined the galactic community within centuries of achieving orbit. They had never known true cosmic isolation. Stand down weapons, she ordered quietly. Commander, Draven protested. I gave an order, Lieutenant. The plasma lances powered down. Tension on the bridge remained thick. Vela opened the channel personally. Captain Brooks, this is Commander Vela. Before I grant passage, I must ask, what do you know of the Devourers? A long pause. What? I'm sorry, that term doesn't translate in our databases. Devourers? Entities that consumed star systems. Non-physical predators that wiped out dozens of civilizations in this region 3,000 years ago. The reason your space was quarantined. Another pause longer. When Brooks spoke again, his voice was subdued. 3,000 years. Commander, we've explored over 200 systems in our local volume. Hundreds of worlds with ruins, advanced cities, orbital habitats, all intact but empty. No bodies, no signs of war or evacuation. Just gone. Our xenohistorians dated the collapses to approximately that time frame. We called it the Great Silence. We thought it was a natural event, maybe a gamma ray burst cascade or a rogue black hole swarm. Vela closed her eyes. No, Captain. It was the Devourers. The Awakened Ones trapped them, and everything else, in a containment field. Your world, Earth, was inside that field. You are the survivors, or perhaps the successors. Silence stretched across the void. When Brooks replied, his tone carried profound weight. You're saying humanity grew up in a graveyard, that we owe our existence to the sacrifice of entire civilizations who died to stop something unimaginable. Yes, and the quarantine was to keep the Devourers in, or to keep others out. Both, but primarily to prevent anyone from accidentally breaching the seal and releasing them. Then why are you here, patrolling? Because the Awakened Ones vanished after the containment. No one knows if the seal holds eternally. We watch. We wait. Brooks exhaled audibly. Commander, if what you say is true, then we've been living on borrowed time in a tomb. But we found no trace of these entities. No activity, no anomalies matching your description. Perhaps the Awakened Ones succeeded completely. The Devourers starved, trapped without prey. Or they wait, Draven muttered. Vela ignored him. She studied the hologram, the Prometheus, scarred and ancient by human standards, yet brimming with life. Sensors detected over 10,000 biosignatures aboard, a floating city. She made her decision. Captain Brooks, I am granting your vessel permission to cross the threshold. Proceed at 1/4 sublight. We will escort you to the nearest Covenant relay station for debriefing. Commander, thank you. You have no idea what this means. I think I do. As the Prometheus began its slow advance, engines glowing with chemical blue exhaust, Vela opened a fleet-wide channel. All vessels in perimeter patrol. Stand down but remain alert. The quarantine has been breached from within. The inhabitants of a sealed zone have returned. They call themselves humans. Do not fire unless fired upon. Responses flooded in. Shock, disbelief, demands for confirmation from high command. Vela muted the channel and turned to her crew. Prepare a full report for the High Council. Include all sensor data, transmission logs, and my personal recommendation, advocate status for the humans. Commander, Thren said softly, the old legends paint them as monsters, warriors who would fight gods and win through sheer obstinacy. Vela watched the human ship draw closer, its running lights flickering like distant stars. Perhaps, but monsters don't plead for contact after 60 years of solitude. They don't explore graveyards in search of friends. The Prometheus crossed the boundary. For the first time in 3 millennia, something living emerged from the quarantine zone. Behind it, the void remained silent. No pursuing horrors, no dimensional rifts. Perhaps the Devourers truly were gone, their threat ended by time and isolation. Or perhaps they slumbered, waiting for fresh prey. Vela pushed the thought aside. That was a concern for the Council. For now, a lost species was coming home. She composed her report as the 2 ships aligned courses. Subject: Breach of Quarantine Zone Alpha. 1 summary. Indigenous sophants designating themselves humans from pre-containment world Earth have achieved interstellar travel and initiated first contact. No evidence of devourer activity detected. Recommend immediate integration protocols and diplomatic outreach. Personal note: these humans have survived 3,000 years in darkness, believing themselves alone, yet they reached out with hope rather than conquest. If the legends are true, and they are indeed the galaxy's most dangerous species, then perhaps their greatest danger lies not in their ferocity, but in their refusal to surrender to despair. The galaxy may not be ready for them, but they are ready for us. As the Eternal Vigil adjusted trajectory to escort the Prometheus, Commander Vela allowed herself a rare moment of optimism. The stars ahead were full of Covenant worlds, thriving, connected, ancient. The humans were about to discover they were no longer alone, and the Covenant was about to learn what resilience truly meant.